Good morning, and welcome to this virtual worship gathering of the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Richmond. My name is Suzanne Short, and I am honored to serve this community on its board of directors. Thank you for taking the time to honor our connections in the ways that we have available until we are able to meet again in person. If you are a visitor here today, our congregation welcomes you, and we are so glad that you are here. We would love for you to introduce yourself and let us know where you're from in the chat feature of Zoom. Our church began in 1833 as a liberal Christian community. We are now a community of many faith journeys and beliefs, guided not by a creed, but by a covenant to uphold shared principles marked by love, respect, and justice. Our faith community continues to work together to put our UU principles and values into action and to build beloved community and serve the purpose of justice for all in our Richmond community. If you are new to Unitarian Universalism, we invite you to check out our website, join our Facebook group, and reach out to us by email to membership@richmonduu.org. I hope everyone will consider stopping at our virtual coffee hour, which starts approximately 5 minutes after the service, through a separate Zoom link that is in Saturday's email and on Facebook. Coffee Hour provides a time to connect with church members, and if you are new to First UU or a visitor with us today, a time for us to get to know you better. I would also like to encourage church members and visitors to tune into our Sunday morning services 5 to 10 minutes early in order to catch the rolling announcements. This is a good way to stay informed about things that are important in our church community. Again, welcome to this joyful Sunday made sacred by us being together, worshiping, and sharing our time with each other.
Get in the car.
And now we light this chalice.
What?
Oh, no, don't blow it out.
Where do you go to find the spring where your soul drinks deep? Tell me, is the water there bitter or sweet? Tell me, is the water there bitter or sweet? Does the water restore your heart? Does it fill you up at the center, so that something of your essence flows out to this thirsty world? So that something of your essence flows out to this thirsty world. Where do you go to find the spring where your soul drinks deep? Tell me, is the water there bitter or sweet? Tell me, is the water there bitter or sweet?
A Meditation, Water by Philip Larkin. If I were called in to construct a religion, I would make use of water. Going to church would entail affording to dry different clothes. My liturgy would employ images of sousing, a furious devout drench, and I would raise in the east a glass of water where any angled light could congregate endlessly. Let us join in a time of meditation.
Good morning. I'm Reverend Jeanne Pupke, and if you're joining us for the first time, this is one of the few live services that we have done since the time of COVID. We're in my backyard. That's no screen share. That's my backyard. And we've been here through much of COVID. COVID apparently is going to take us into the winter, so we'll have to go indoors too. But this is the beauty of the space I get to occupy. A little bird hopping in the background there. It is a gorgeous Sunday morning, and I hope you have been outdoors already. I also hope that you have some water. Water that's meaningful to you. Needn't be much, but anything that perhaps has the weight of your life in it is what we would love for it to be. And these days, we've spent so much time at home that maybe it's the house water that is the most significant and meaningful to us right now. But just look here and enjoy the beauty of the day. Here in Richmond, it's, it's about 70 degrees. It is magnificent. For us in Richmond in the summer, we'll take it. But that tells us that fall is coming, and it's time for our water communion ritual. If you're coming to us from someplace other than Richmond, why don't you tell us, what is your weather today? Put it into the chat. Let us know. Because this is a Sunday in which we are all about the earth and its waters, and we are sharing them today in a special ritual called the water communion. So let me tell you a bit of history about the water communion. Lucille Longwood and Carolyn McDade dreamed this up in 1980. So it's only 40 years old. They were the liturgists who were planning an ingathering for about a dozen women who were coming from all over North America to gather as Unitarian Universalists to discuss the challenges to women and the immersion of feminism in Unitarian Universalism. And they thought to represent the common interests, the community they were building, they would take a small amount of water, ask everyone to bring a small amount of water from all over, from wherever they were coming from. And in their service that day, when people gathered, everyone poured their water into a common vessel. And the common vessel captured all the waters and mingled them, representing their awareness of one another, their community with each other, and their interdependence with one another. Now, if you've been at one of our water communion services at First Unitarian Universalist, you know that we do this up big on Labor Day every year. And it is a service in which we invite everyone to bring a little water, and we actually have a little extra water in case somebody forgot it. There's a big punch bowl on a table in front of the congregation. And what we do is we bring our various waters together, or we use them from a pitcher, to mingle our heartfelt awareness of the waters that flow on the earth and rise to the skies and fall again as rain. Once it falls as rain, it's collected in puddles, in little rivulets that flow. And we've had quite a bit of water. Some of us have experienced some flooding. So this year, water has shown itself to be not only a blessing, but something of a nuisance as well when it comes in vast quantities. You saw a picture of Bob Meadows out walking his dog, and he couldn't go any further because of the flooding. Now this year, all of that water has flowed down, at least in Richmond, it flows down to the James River. In other places, it flows to the Pamunkey, to the Nottoway, to other places, the New River out west. It's a drainage that goes all over. And for us here in Richmond, into the Chesapeake Bay, down near Norfolk and other places. Water is absolutely elemental to life. Water is essential to all life, and it has a beautiful cycle in which it is given to a physical form, changed to gas, come back again to a liquid. And we're going to participate in that this morning. Now, these are COVID days, so we had to adapt. Yesterday and Friday and Saturday, a few of us gathered in the Memorial Garden, which is the scene of much of our water communion action. And what we do there typically is after water communion's over, the youngest members of our congregation join me outside in the Memorial Garden. If we have any young members on this service right now, would you grab the chat away from your parents and just let us know if you've been in the Memorial Garden with us before. Just let us know if you're here. Just put your name in. We'll say hi to everybody. We go out there after we've mingled all those beautiful waters. So I think Barry has some slides he wants to show you now. And we did this to keep the continuity of our water communion. What we did was we went out and we added waters into a bowl. Keep going, Barry. And here you see David and Gwen Heinen, with the Sandy kind of hidden in the background. And they're out in our Memorial Garden adding to water. Actually, they had just come from the James River and they were sharing water from there. Here you see Leanne Luskin and her family. That's actually Rory there, pouring some water into the common bowl. And all of these waters then are captured. And we use the water after much sanitation and heating up and making it safe. We use it for our child dedication. That's Sage doing that as well. He's adding his water. And then yesterday, before we finished, I took a bit of the water and put it into the Memorial Garden, where the remains of many of our members, our spiritual community ancestors, are buried. We do this as a ritual to recognize the continuity of life and to water those plants that are in, and trees that are in the garden and kept beautifully by our Memorial Garden Committee and the folks who do our many, many beautiful grounds work. I like for all of us to go out there because I want our youngest members to understand this is a church that is 190 years establishing. The first meetings were held in 1830 to gather up this group of people. The waters have gone to the earth and risen and fallen again, 130 years of cycles. And though we've not always been in our location on Blanton Avenue, we have always been in the Richmond area. And the community that we've formed has been one that is a blessing to the city, a blessing to our lives, and a blessing upon all of Unitarian Universalism. So this time in COVID days, I'm going to put away my coffee cup and take up my water. and ask you to do the same. And what we're going to do is, instead of pouring our waters into a common bowl, we're going to pour our waters into the common bowl that is known as Mother Earth. Because Mother Earth will deliver it just as it did last year when we put it in the memorial garden. I'm going to put mine in the garden you see behind me. My backyard is a place of great beauty and peace. I hope it has been that for you. But I want to nourish it. And so I'm going to pour this water in a place where that big old oak tree, which is over there, can get some of this water. Symbolic of, I hope, our community's appreciation for all living things. I would love for you to do the same. So at the end of this service, I will walk over and do that. But I hope you have some water ready to do that as well in your household. And when you do, go out and say a short intention. What is it that you hope this waters? Where do you hope this water goes? And when it falls as rain and falls into shorelines, into rivers, into creeks, into ponds, next year, it will come again together in our common bowl, we hope, as we're gathered for our ingathering and water communion next year. Wouldn't that be great? Yes. The theology of the water communion is pretty simple. It recognizes first how very different we all are. We come from differing places. We're going different places. Some of us may have traveled this year, some of us maybe not. I know we had a good intention to go on a lovely vacation to the place where Regina was born. That didn't happen. So another year, another time, we hope to do that. In the meantime, we recognize that that's her story and you have your story. You probably have a favorite water place. If you wouldn't mind sharing and wouldn't mind telling us what it is there a place that you go to where there's water that is particularly moving to you? Streamside in a mountain, on a shore, a place somewhere away? Put it in the chat. I've had a favorite place. It sits up above the waters of Puget Sound. It overlooks islands and other peninsulas. It is a beautiful soft blue in the morning and a hard gray through much of the day. And it returns with slight lights of gold as the sun is setting. It is a place that has been a place of peace for me. It's a place called Kingston, Washington. What is your special place of water? And have you thought of it lately? Have you brought it to mind? Have you allowed its peace to be with you? Have you thought of it and planned about when you might be able to go back, if ever, or just intentionally to go back in your mind and your heart? And of course, for all of us who live near the James is pretty important. Our town exists because the James made possible movement by water all the way from Hampton Roads up to what's called Rockets Landing area. And beyond that, it was no longer navigable for larger ships. The rapids that we so delight in as we cross the Potterfield Bridge or the overlook of Hollywood Cemetery are so much fun that we have those rapids in our city meant that people could not go further. Unfortunately for us, some of what was carried there were people whose lives were stolen from them as they were made enslaved people. So the history of Richmond and the history of the James are intertwined with some good and much not good. So when we look at the James today and we think about our common watershed, we can think of the common hope that is arising in our community as we see old lies and stories removed from their primacy in our community. And we understand new stories to be told. It is the same thing for First Unitarian Universalist. When we mingle the waters, it's as though we're creating our own little James. And we're telling new stories all the time about the many ways we see people from all over the world who live in our community. We recognize their beauty and their uniqueness, their individualism, and it's all a wonderful thing. But what is the most wonderful is when people come together in respect and love for purpose, for sharing, for community, for commonality. And where we recognize our common humanity, it is, in fact, a very important thing. So, today, we pour our waters into a virtual bowl. First Unitarian and all of our visitors today, we're so happy for you to do that. Today, the bowl is Mother Earth. But the community brings new wisdom every year, brings new learning, brings more insight to the tragic problems that are in this world that we can stop being a part of, and to the new solutions that we can move towards as we open our hearts and learn. And that's an exciting thing. This year in particular, we'll be learning about Black Lives Matter. We'll be learning about healing Mother Earth. And we'll be learning about offering sanctuary. How wonderful is that? All of us together. By the next time we have water communion, all of us will have gone on a much deeper dive than we knew this moment. Community is always enriched by this. And it's also true that some beautiful new souls will join us. Some babies will be born. And we'll add their names to our community and bless them in a baby dedication. And it is also true that some persons will pass from this community. Just recently, we lost Jillian Dawson, whose memorial will be celebrated this Saturday at 4 p.m. And there are those all of us know and have loved. This week, Harvey Joyner's mother passed away. And I have her name here. I want to get that. It is my face. Yes. Okay. And her name was Jeanne Simmons Joyner Bath. And Harvey and Karen are so glad that she has been freed from the pain that she was experiencing. They have been there for some time to look after her in her home. And this week we received really, really sad news. Some of you may remember that I introduced to you a woman who was joining us as our ministerial intern. Her name was Felicia Beckett. And this week, Felicia was found dead of natural causes in her home. It is a most unfortunate thing, and we are deeply saddened as she was to begin her internship on Tuesday. So this year, it seems we will not have a ministerial intern. But we were blessed to know Felicia, a woman who traveled a road to discover who she was. She tried cooking at one point and other things, and while she enjoyed all those, she finally decided that she would attend Virginia Union University to receive her MDiv. And it was there she met the Reverend Faith Harris, a member of our community, who introduced her to Unitarian Universalism and connected her to what ultimately would be the plan for her internship. So Jillian and Jeanne and Felicia are spirits set loose in this universe. And the good that they have done flows into other lives and returns to the community as blessing, just as in the water community. And so finally, next year, when the young people and I, hopefully, all can go out into the garden, when we all can spread the water over the ashes for the plants and let it rise into the heavens, we'll complete this water communion cycle, which begins today. And don't forget at the end of the service to head out to do that. And now we'll bring this to a close, this water communion celebration. With gratitude for all who helped out, I want to recognize the folks who came to the garden to help me do this. And I also want to thank all of you for remembering that you bring meaning to this community. You bring meaning to our common community. Your beautiful selves, given in generosity, given in hope, and given in service to this world together. Blessed be. Amen.
Good morning. Our September Share the Plate partner would be for the food pantry of Majid Bilal, an Islamic community on Church Hill. Our faith community have been friendly and have visited one another, places of worship, for many years now. Support for the Church Hill Food Pantry will help those who are in need in challenging COVID times. This month, we invite people to participate both with financial support and with donation of food, which we will collect on Saturday, September 26th at the church. We hope you will participate as you are able. The offering would now be gratefully accepted.
I want to bring to a close our service, but I'll begin by offering a great thanks to some wonderful folks in our congregation who did a wonderful thing this week. Congratulations to all of our RISC participants. RISC is a community organizing group which has become active in this church thanks in large part to Stephen Salzberg, who was a part of it and knew that differing faith communities coming together to organize and advocate would be a really strong community builder in those communities themselves, but across the city of Richmond. And this past Monday night, they had a great session pinning down the mayor to some deep financial commitments to avoid the crises that is a part of eviction everywhere in America. As you may know, Richmond has a tremendous history that's not really good about evictions. And we actually know who pays most dearly for evictions. It is people of color who lose wealth. It is their children who wind up having to move from school district to school district and never really can establish that relationship with their educators and others who can really be helpful and wonderful to them in their lives. Every time we stop an eviction, every time we avoid the catastrophe of an eviction, we do good, and RISC made a fantastic advance in the commitments financially that Richmond is making to all people who find themselves facing eviction. Now, they have more work to do because there's still a lot of gun violence, another issue they're working on. But we were happy to see our members represented there as Stephen spoke, as did Dorothy Holohan, who's been very, very active in this. I want to recognize them and the other members of the RISC team who will be holding house meetings in September and October. House meetings gather people together to talk about how the advocacy can be done, the research, how the work can be carried out successfully. So let's recognize Jeff Clark, Diana Donald, Mark Hageman. I mentioned Dorothy, Ted Merriman, Lynn Pappas, and of course, Stephen Salzberg, whom I told some years ago that he had to find 5 people. And if he could find 5 people to do this with him and get it going, it was likely to be a success. Well, to be really honest, he got a lot more than 5 people, and it truly has become a success. Good for you. Stephen, you planted some really wonderful, wonderful seeds. We also want to remind you that this Wednesday starts our very first family ministry offering. 6 p.m. on Wednesday, all ages, all households, everyone come on as we begin to study how to create sacred space and how to recognize sacred space and time in this world. I hope you'll join us. 6 p.m. It's in First News Weekly, and we hope that you'll see the link there. We'll probably send one more reminder to everybody just so you have it handy. We look forward to you being there. And now I'm going to extinguish our chalice. On Water Communion Sunday, it is always a blessing to be with you. It is always beautiful to mingle these waters and to enjoy the fact that we are held in community in this big bowl that is Mother Earth. I wish you all a blessed week, a wonderful family ministry week. And as I share this with my friend, the Big Oak, I hope you too will go to your garden and celebrate our water communion. Blessed be.
I got peace, my God.